I just finished watching season 3 of Squid Game, and I gotta say, guys, I thought it was very consistent with the other two. I have always been a big fan of Squid Game since the beginning that I watched it. I like season 1, I like season 2, and I like season 3 as well. I've seen a lot of discourse online about the ending for Squid Game being disappointing. I haven't personally thought about it as disappointing, but I think it might be because we had that leak from the creator, director, whoever ended up saying it, saying that this wasn't going to have a happy ending. I thought they closed up things nicely, and I thought they set up for the American version very well. Today, we are going to be talking about the entirety of Season 3 about Squid Games, with spoilers ahead. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. So, we're going to be breaking this down episode by episode, but I want to give my general thoughts on this first, okay? And I want to save the ending for, like, when we actually speak on the ending. I thought this was a very strong season. Once we were actually in the games with our main characters, I thought, obviously that was the best part. The problem is that one girl who was, with the daughter trying to infiltrate everything, I couldn't care less. The VIPs were stupid, and I could not give two craps about that detective and his mission, okay? The actors are great. They did a good job, and I understand what they were going for, but none of that ended up mattering. I was pretty well only interested in the games, but of course, that ended up being the primary thing. So it didn't take away from anything. It's just like, I found myself watching this and they were like circling the boat just like they did throughout the entire second season. Still couldn't care less. Yeah, okay, like, ooh, the captain worked forever for the Squid Game people. I didn't care. I just found myself kind of waiting to get back to our main crew. But when we actually circle back to our main characters, we start off with a hide and seek game, and I gotta say, that one was phenomenal. I think that was my favorite game, but we'll talk yeah, I was just like thinking about what was to come. Yeah, this was definitely my favorite game of all of it. Dude, I don't know what I would do. If I was dropped into Squid Game myself, guys, I wouldn't be able to kill people like just, okay, it's my job to start knifing people around. I understand that, like, I understand the situation that you're in, but I couldn't, like, do that to people just trying to survive because realistically, none of them except for our main character knew what they were getting into. They thought they were kind of just gambling things. They didn't know that I have to be killing each other. So I'd be looking at a lot of these people like they're innocent people. On the other hand, though, if we're talking about, is it player 100? I'm sorry, I don't remember the player numbers and I don't remember a lot of their names. The old dude that ended up lasting until the end. If it was someone like him who has demonstrated time and time again that he is a horrible, horrible, horrible person, I would have no problem doing something like that, okay? So I would have to put myself on the defending side. Plus, and I know I'm inserting myself into this, it's interesting to think about. I am very capable as a martial artist, so I would be confident in my ability to, at the very least have a chance against somebody. Plus, most people in that show didn't know how to use a knife just by the way they were holding it. A lot of them were tentative too. There are ways you can get around it. Do I like my chances? No. Do I like my situation? No, but I would definitely be choosing to be the guy trying to hide and run away. But I thought in general, they just captured the horror aspect of it personally. And this was not just in season 3, but in the entirety of Squid Games. I'd have to think about it. And we might, actually, that make for an interesting tier list. Look out for that video because we might actually do that. I think that might have been my favorite game watching the entire time, okay? It was just, they captured the horror so well, and it was like a laser tag type arena, just the corners that people were turning, and the fact that there was like no music too. They just nailed it the entire time. But then, of course, we have to start talking about the captain. We have to start talking about the girl looking for the front man. Honestly, guys, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that because it didn't matter until the end for the detective. Honestly, the same with the girl, like, infiltrating, she killed a bunch of people in the operating room. I don't care about that personally. But there was a ton of things that ended up happening in the second episode. We had our main character and the guy who lied about being in the military having their own, conflict there. And honestly, what's shocking is I didn't really care too much about the main character this season. I thought who stole the show was the girl with the baby. I thought that was the perfect way to do it. But of course, obviously, with the nature of this show, she ended up going into labor, and oh my god, I felt so bad for her, and she tore her ankle open too. She couldn't do anything. I also liked the girl who, and I'm sorry guys, I hope it's still enjoyable to watch. It's difficult for me to remember all of these names. The lady who is like, oh, the spirits are talking to me. The way she went out, hilarious, peak, amazing. And I can't believe that the player 100 old dude, I'm almost sure it's player 100. Apologies if it's not. I'm probably going to keep calling him player 100. The fact that he kept worming his way and living the entire time, I thought they did a good job with that too. But who stole the show was the team of 3. Like, I thought that, like, the older lady and the tough one all worked out, like, amazingly, okay? I didn't really understand the death there, especially, and I know, like, the guy who knocked her up was looking for her, but he just went on like a murder spree the entire time. Didn't really make too much sense, but of course, went out heroically, pretty good fight, but then they find the exit to the door, right? They get there, and then the old lady's son comes in. Guy's a little weasel, man. That's one of those things that I wouldn't be able to do, man. I understand the situation everybody's in, but I could not kill. I couldn't kill somebody innocent, let alone a brand new mother with her brand new baby, and your mom's there too. Unbelievable. And the mom was even saying, like, no way, you kill me. That was probably one of the hardest moments to watch throughout the entire thing. And the dude was about to actually knife her and then got killed by his mom. Crazy. But that was the right decision to make. Her son was completely lost, and this little weasel kept voting to continue playing the games. Like, no, this dude, I didn't feel bad for him one bit. He was a big problem, and he needed out of there. And look what he fell into. Look what he was about to do to a new mother and her child. That should have been the person that everybody was protecting the entire time. But after this game, or was it in between this game? I don't know. At some point around this area, the VIPs ended up showing up. And guys, I'm with the internet on this one. I hated them. You know what's crazy is I could very well see something like this existing in real life and there being a ton of messed up people enjoying this type of thing. Like I have always said, if the Hunger Games was real, humanity would thrive on that. And I'm somebody who loves violence. I'm somebody who loves MMA. It's one of my biggest passions, but that's different from watching people like get plucked out and like being tricked into like violently killing each other. Plus, I wouldn't even like MMA if it was killing each other. You know what I mean? Very different. But the whole world, or not the whole world, but there would be a good chunk in the world that would be into that, and there'd be a lot of sick people who would invest in on that. So I like the idea of there being a bunch of VIPs, but oh my god. I watched Moist Critical's breakdown about Season 3, and I completely found myself agreeing with him, where, I'm paraphrasing, of course, I don't remember exactly what he described them as, but it was like some goofy wannabe supervillain from like, you know, like as cringe as you could possibly get, like, oh yeah, we love these types of things, yeah, oh my god, that's very interesting, like, the masks were stupid. Them enjoying the games were stupid. Them being as evil as they were stupid. Them wanting to drink was stupid. All of it was beyond stupid. And honestly, they didn't really add anything to the show. I didn't care about them. I thought they were cringe. I thought they were stupid. Okay? But we get back to our main characters and we find the old lady ended up hanging herself. That one was difficult to watch. And I think, you know what I love about Squid Game? Is that they don't really use any music. It's just like, oh, she's there. And they let you sit in it, right? They do such a good job with that. And that was very difficult to watch because she's arguably one of the greatest people in this entire show with everything that she went through. So that death was horrible. It was sad. In between that, we're brought over to Captain Park's home, and there's really nothing to care about there. Yeah, obviously he's with the Squid Game people. They figure it out. He shoots a dog and then gets captured. It wasn't even funny with the guy sleeping in the car. Again, I don't mean to be disrespectful, and I think the actors did a great job. Like, honestly, that one character that was the one breaking into the home, I liked him. I just wanted to get back to our main characters, okay? But when we finally do get back to our main characters, the next game is revealed to be Jump Rope. And obviously, I was so sad about this, guys. I was so sad. And what's interesting about this, too, is I ended up getting spoiled in so many comment sections that our main character dies, and player 222 wins the game. I was jumping with joy, not really like because it was such a sad moment, but I was like, okay, yes, I didn't actually get spoiled, but then I didn't understand that the baby would become 222. So I was like, how the hell is she going to survive through this? Because I kept seeing spoilers in comment sections all over the place, like in TikTok videos that had nothing to do with Squid Game. It's like the same thing. Iron Man died, Anakin Skywalker died, Luke Skywalker died, that type of stuff. I don't know why people do that, man. It's so horrible. Anyway, so I was thinking the entire time we were playing Jump Rope, I'm like, how the hell is she going to make it through that? Her ankle is like swollen up like a balloon. And the only way, like I was talking about it with my wife, I was like, and I didn't want to spoil it for her, but I'm like, how could you carry her through this? Okay. I was thinking like, okay, our main character and the guy who knocked her up, maybe it's a little bit unrealistic, but maybe they'll like firemen carry her and shuffle over to the side. That's the only way that I could think about it. But it didn't end up working, man. And the guy who knocked her up, he was obviously a piece of crap, especially what he turned into, but I cannot believe that she, like, refused the help. I can believe it, but, like, she was almost accepting her death. So our main character ends up getting through, and then we have some problems with people, like, shoving each other, right? Which, obviously, that's going to happen. That's just horrible. Like, I saw that coming. I would have been the first one diving through that jump rope, because the game's kind of easy, but what happens is, the problem is when everybody is hesitating and everybody is jumping at the same time, you lose your stamina, all that kind of thing, right? So it was very tense the entire time. I loved watching it, but I also didn't like it as much as the previous game. I was worried about the pregnant lady, or I mean, no longer pregnant. I'm just going to keep calling her the pregnant lady, okay? 222. She was my favorite character. I cared about her the most. Obviously, it's pulling on the heartstrings because you have a brand new baby. You have a brand new mother, and she is like looking like the most innocent girl in the entire world. It's funny how instinct comes in and you want to protect that type of person. So our main character comes about, and he brings the baby across, which, very strange that the baby's living through all of that, but I kept thinking about that. He was going to go back for her, but he didn't have any time. And then 222 killed herself. Unbelievable, because she knew that that the baby needs to stay safe, and oh, that was the worst death of the entire show, man. The realization that she was slowly going to step off because she wasn't going to cross, and I was thinking about that the entire time, like, how the hell are you going to get her across, especially with everybody hesitating and taking forever? Oh, that was the worst death of the entire thing, worse than the previous girl just hanging herself. I wanted her to win. I felt the most bad for her and everything that she went through. I felt bad for the kid. The kid's no longer going to grow up with a mother. Oh my god, all of that was horribly, horribly tearing on the heartstrings. But now our main character's left with this brand new baby, and now he has kind of something to fight for. And as we continue on, everybody ended up having a problem with the baby being the next player, and the VIPs were doing the same thing, like, oh, don't you think that maybe we should have the baby should end up playing the game? Like, it was so cringe, and these people are messed up. It wouldn't shock me if they ended up making the baby play, but these little weasels were they're beyond saving. They're beyond garbage, guys. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I hate them. Understandably so. They all wanted to kill a baby because they didn't have enough of their share. Unbelievable. But then randomly they just came up like, okay, they will no longer be tolerated violence outside the game. So player 222 is a player, saves the day, and the one VIP is like, oh, I bet on 222. But that same night, we have that weird conversation where our main character ends up getting brought in because the front man wants to talk to him. They had a big dinner, and they voted to continue on playing with the games. I thought that was a little bit lackluster, to be honest, because the front man revealed himself, and it was the friend of the main character, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know. It's just difficult for me to remember the names of the Squid Game characters. I don't know. Like, it was weird. And it was revealed that he was in the games earlier, and our main character wouldn't kill him, and he had the opportunity to slice the throat of everybody else there. I don't know why he didn't. That's crazy. Because, or at least, like, the majority of them who wanted to end up killing the baby. If anybody wanted to actually kill that baby within the middle of the night, I wouldn't have had a problem taking care of that. No issue. No issue. Take care of that. Take care of myself. No, I wouldn't at that point take care of myself because I have a responsibility to take care of that baby. But I think it's crazy that he didn't go through with it. With all of those people, like, in what they were about to do, no, I'm sorry. Like, that's the proper thing to do, is to take care of them. But he didn't go through with it. But as we continue on, we're brought over to the final game, that being Sky Squid Game. And we also had the little hint of, like, you're going to get to choose what players to eliminate next time around. And I was curious about what that game was going to be. I thought there was going to be a twist to it, but there really wasn't. And this was very tense. Obviously, it being the last game, they have to choose somebody to knock off each time. And there would be no order with this entire thing. I thought they did it, like, pretty realistically, where people would constantly turn on each other. The poll was stupid. And again, I don't mean to be egotistical, but as somebody who knows how to fight, the poll is, like, the worst thing that you can bring. I get if you're, like, pushing somebody off from a corner, that's fine. But when they started to fight with the actual poll, like, oh my god, you wouldn't be able to generate enough force to, stop me. I would grab that and then, like, move closer to you and then take you down. But our main character, he had a knife. Nobody knew about it. They wanted to kill the baby. But is it Min-Soo, the guy who was hallucinating and ended up going through a bunch of withdrawals? My wife actually felt so bad for him. I didn't really care for him all that much, but I found it funny that out of all people, he hallucinated Thanos, which I get why he hallucinated Thanos, but it was funny, like, all of a sudden, after all of that, just, they brought that actor in for that one thing. I thought it was pretty funny, to be honest with you. So he ends up taking off the first time around, and things start to go, like, very chaotically throughout the second round. I think our main character was a little bit dumb because he was standing on the edge the entire time, but I understand, like, he has to keep the baby safe, but he ended up getting away with it. Everybody started turning on each other, and obviously that was going to happen. But honestly, there's not exactly a ton to break down over here because it was very satisfying seeing player 100 end up getting his death, and he kept weaseling himself through the entire thing. I enjoyed that, but the guy who knocked up the girl, he's beyond scum, beyond saving. He deserved to die. Okay? And to be honest with you, with everything that he went through and, like, with the way that he was acting, I wouldn't even believe him that he was the father, to be honest with you. Our main character ending up saving the baby is the proper ending, and I'm glad that's what we saw. I knew that it wasn't going to have a good ending because of whatever the creator or whatever the director said. I expected something like that, but I love the selflessness of him actually stepping off and keeping the baby alive, and this is player 222 winning. This is the spoiler that I ended up seeing. I wouldn't have trusted them, but I also wouldn't have killed the baby. Like, I just hoping that it would end up going to a good spot. And in between all of this, we've had the lady with the daughter ended up infiltrating the front man and everything going on there. The detective ended up actually finding the island, figuring out that the captain betrayed everybody. None of that was interesting, and honestly, none of that mattered. What did that, like, really progress the show? What did any of that matter? Okay? I honestly, there's not a ton to break down about it. Oh, after so long, he found the island. Oh, the captain was working for the Squid Game people. Shocker. Here, I don't think it's here. Obviously, it's going to be there. I thought that was the worst part about the entire thing. But the games, they were so good. They were so captivating, right? It was difficult to see our main character end up killing himself. And it was tough to watch, man. It was tough to watch. But the baby ended up winning. I'm happy the baby ended up winning. I still think the worst death was the pregnant lady. I wanted her to win the entire thing, and unfortunately, she didn't win the entire thing. Unfortunately, we did not have a happy ending. And while we did not exactly have a happy ending, I actually liked how it ended up closing off because the front man ended up delivering all of the money over to our main character's daughter. And I was very confused because I didn't remember who the daughter was. My wife had to tell me that, but I was like, oh, that's nice. It's like, oh, I'm a friend of your father's. Your father passed away, and she was all pissed off, but she ended up getting all of the money won. So at least his family was taken care of. At least he was able to do that. And with the way that he behaved and how selfless he was the entire time, I know that there were some issues throughout the entire games, but I really, really liked how his family ended up being well off after this. And I kind of like how they transitioned into the American Squid Game because now they're in, I'm pretty sure it was LA, but the game just started beginning again in LA because the island was going to self-destruct. They can no longer be in wherever they were. And you just start up the game again. The island blew up, but the games have to continue. So I thought they closed things out pretty well with that. And honestly, they closed things out with the lady and her daughter well too. But again, to be honest with you, I wasn't that interested at all too. I liked that the baby had a happy ending. I like that the detective ended up having a happy ending there too with all of the money. I don't really think that the ending was bad. And even disappointing. I thought they closed up things fine. Like, it wasn't like the most thrilling ending of all time, but I was satisfied with it. I think we have a problem with people like looking too forward to things or people like keeping their expectations a little too high. I actually didn't see a problem with it, to be honest with you. So if you didn't like the ending, please let me know what you think about it down below. I enjoyed this entire series. I enjoyed every single season. I know that I talked about not being interested in some parts, but they were such small parts of the show where it didn't matter. The games were very interesting, and I cannot wait to watch all these spin-off shows. I cannot wait to watch the American version. I'm excited for this. If you want to talk more about Squid Games, I actually made a little bit, not necessarily a deep dive, but a whole dedicated video, which blew up for the channel about the character Thanos. You can check it out right here. I would love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care, guys.